You are not alone. You are invited on behalf of the changes, all the changes, and the people you care about. You're invited into something that's bigger than any one of us. The purpose of this course is for you to become more confident and competent as an agent for collaborative change. And I want to emphasize that this is an opportunity for you and for me and for all of us to do more of the work we are meant to do in the world. And when we started on our journey early on in the program, which seems like just yesterday, you're invited to look at what you wanted to take out into the world, how you wanted to translate that gift and talent you have into doing something that makes a difference, where you find meaning. And we also talked about how doing that is work. It's not play, it's not easy, and that when we do anything that is worthwhile to us, it is hard work. And the difference between someone who succeeds and the person who doesn't succeed really is that they love it enough to work really hard at it. And you have chosen to be a part of this program. You have chosen to be on this journey because you believe in something bigger than yourself. And you also believe in doing something that's important in the world, and you're willing to work hard at it and give it your best, your all. And that's why I have truly enjoyed working with you all, and learning with you all. And I'm looking forward to one of your final classes in the program. You're on the cusp of what's next for you. It's an exciting time. And I invite you to continue to take this class as serious as you take the future that you're embarking on and you're preparing yourself for. We're going to do that through a few outcomes in the course. And you can see them here on this homepage, where you are going to be more confident and competent in your capability or in defining, describing, and presenting your own approach or methodology for change. And as we talked about a long time ago, well, actually, it seems like just yesterday, what we talked about was you have to take this methodology, this thing that you're innovating, connect it to your purpose and what you yearn to do and the difference you yearn to make in the world. And you take this methodology, connect it to that, so that when you put it out there in front of somebody, they say, I want you to work with us. We need you here in our organization. We want you on this project. You're the person who can help us get to that thing that we're trying to get to, that place we're trying to get all of us to get to, and you can help us get there. You can help us in a very important, special way. Now, your methodology can be a methodology that is for coaching one-on-one with people, or for teams, or for organizations, or for large-scale trans-organizational change, or a combination. The next outcome has to do with a community of practice. And as you move forward, you're beginning to step into a place where you're going to be a leader, a thought leader, a subject matter expert, and people are going to want to know more about what you do, how you do it, and you're going to be called upon to make presentations, to write, and to provide your intellectual property, your content out there for people to use in a scalable way. When I say intellectual property, I don't mean it's something that you sell. I do mean it's something that you have created, that you own because it's a part of you. You're standing on the shoulders of giants, people that have come before you, honoring them as you move forward with new ideas and new thoughts, seeing further because you're standing on those shoulders. You're going to propose collaborative change solutions in order to inspire enthusiastic change agents. And so you're going to have a chance to present solutions in a simulation that's a real life simulation. And you're going to have a chance to present and share, pitch ideas, and help someone say, yes, I want you, or I want your team to help us. You're also going to apply the cycle of mastery in order to be on the journey to your own personal mastery. In the course of the next several weeks, We're going to focus on building your mastery around innovation, innovating your own approach. And we're going to focus on you building that mastery around large-scale change initiatives. And we're going to work on you recognizing that you will continuously be on a journey, a life's journey of learning, and how you can best manage that and continue your learning beyond the program. We're going to look at you at developing developing yourself as an instrument so that you can become a more influential facilitator and change agent. And throughout the program and your cohort, you have been becoming so much more wise and aware and present to yourself, how you influence and impact others and how they impact you and how we react. You've learned a lot about yourself, and we're going to continue to work on that self-awareness and building your self as instrument, power, and influence. We're also going to look at the design and facilitating of change initiatives. And we're going to look at how these large-scale initiatives are designed and the elements that go into them, and the tools and templates that you can use to manage the process from the design to the development and the delivery of a change initiative. And we're also going to look at action research, looking at it both from a problem and a possibility, from an appreciative approach to a sometimes a problem-based approach where we have to look at a problem and understand it and solve it in order to get to that possibility perspective. And how do you balance those two polarities, if you will? That's what we're going to focus on in this class. And we're going to do it through 3 core assignments, which I'll share with you. And so what I'm going to walk you through here is an overview of the class and give you what you need to get started. And then we'll have our online live sessions where we will sit and I'll explain. And as you know, I'm always available to speak with you one-on-one or whenever you need to work through this. While you're in the class, you got me as your coach, and I'm here for you. And while after the class, you'll have me as your coach. While you're in the class, I am particularly focused on being your coach and your mentor and your support and your collaborating learner with you or co-learner with you. And so I'm excited because I also learn in the course of these courses so much about myself, so much about how we can make the course better and how we can all together make a better difference in the world and continue to support each other in our cohort and as a learning community. So I'm really grateful for all of that. So let me walk you through. So you're here on the home page. You're watching the video, and you come up here, and let's see here. I got to do this here real quick. I got to put it into student view. And so you're in here, and watch this first as the video. It's right there. It will be there. Once I'm done with it, I'll put it right here for you. You can see up at the top, there are going to be the most recent announcements. And as you know, subscribe to them. Download Canvas to your phone. Make sure that you're getting the notifications so that you're up to speed and continuously connected into the class, because we're a nimble, blended environment, learning environment. And so you can click on announcements here and see announcements. You can also, like I said, at the home page, see the most recent announcement at the top. And there'll be announcements each week. It'll say week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way through week 12. Now you can click on the syllabus. The syllabus gives you the overview of the class. Let me walk you through a little bit of that. The title of our class is Engaging Whole Systems for Change. Over here on the right, you can see how the assignments are laid out. We have discussion forums, your personal ODNC method that you're innovating, and a team change proposal. We use a scaffolding approach, or I use a scaffolding approach. So therefore your discussion forums, you have 4 of them. They are all designed to help weave in the textbook and other materials and the assignments into an experience that informs you as you work on your personal ODNC method and your team proposal. And so then when you get into the proposal, the scaffolding is where you're going to work first on the presentation for your proposal, and then second, you're going to work on the document, and then third, you're going to put that together and take all the feedback and deliver a final presentation and paper with that recording, as we always do with the presentations. The team change proposal or the team proposal, you're going to have the plan for your team you're going to do. You're going to have a introduction to the client that you're going to meet the client and give an introduction to them. You're then going to present a proposal, and you're finally going to finish up with peer evaluations where you evaluate each other. Those are all scaffolded as well. Everything builds on each other. Each of the steps, they build on each other. So you got the description here on engaging whole systems, which is the development, adaptation, and application of theories and methods emphasizing intergroup, systemic, and trans-systemic change. The focus is on the change of an organization or community, not necessarily determined by the size of the system. And here are a couple things. This right here is from the Change Handbook. We had conferences at BGSU, and we will start having those again as we go to the next edition of the Change Handbook. And we had some great people, some of the best thought leaders from around the world come to BG, and we did a large group dialogue-based history session and broke it down, and then people presented, and this outlines that history of whole system change or collaborative change. The next one here is a young man who is diagnosed with autism, talking about how you need to forget what you know. And he's quite encouraging and inspiring, particularly as we think about inventing our own approach and how we need to forget everything in order to create space to take all of that learning and bring it back out in a new way, in our own innovative way. You got the textbooks and the learning materials. You got the learning management system that we're here with. You got the books. You got these 5 books. These are classics, and these are ones that you want to have on your bookshelf. And so these 5 will play a role. Each one of them can inform your personal method and the large-scale change or the change proposal, the team change proposal that you'll be developing and presenting to a live simulation client. And I'll explain more of that as we get there. So each one of these will support that. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use and have you work on or have you answer questions in the discussion board forums related to these 5 along with other questions. So each one of these will pop up, and there'll be a question which will ask you to reflect on that particular book. And we have 4 discussion boards, so it'll be each one of them will be mentioned in one of them, and in the very first discussion board, 2 of them are mentioned. And I ask you to go in and review. And typically, the way the questions are is they're designed. I frame the questions so that they will help inform you for that personal method or for the team proposal. And when you go in and see the questions, they'll typically tend to say, what are your reactions? What surprised you? What are you getting out of it that can help you with your assignments? And what are you curious about? Those kinds of things. So you don't need to read these line by line unless you want to. I think you read them with purpose. I think you go through and read, and you find places you drill into, and you read them with that intentional purpose, based on the question that has been posed and based on your desire to read and where you're drawn. Each of these are very unique. The Productive Workplaces is a classic by Marv Weisberg, and it's set the tone and set the stage for all the work we do in collaborative change. Leading Change by Cotter is a good one because it is a method that was developed, that turned into a book, that turned into training programs and consulting approaches, in which it was taken out in the world. And as you develop your own methodology, this is a model of someone who took and innovated a method that then became scalable and used all throughout the world. And so the intention is for you in your world. It doesn't have to be global. It can be in your company, in your neighborhood. But the intention is for you to create your methodology in a way that it allows you to scale. It allows other people to learn from what you know. and your methodology and use it without you being right there with them. They should be able to read and get started, or read enough to use your approach and decide to take it and apply it in a particular situation. So the Leading Change by Cotter is a great model of that. And then also, it is a large-scale change process, and it is one that could relate to the team proposal. So it also can inform that as well. As you think about in that proposal, you'll be pitching a large-scale change, and this is a book on how to do large-scale change over time. The consultant's calling brings it back home to you at a personal level, and people find that it speaks to them about doing this work as a consultant, as an internal or an external, or a leader, and really as an agent of change in organizations and communities, in whatever capacity you are in. And again, as I mentioned in the invitation, this is an invitation for the changes and the people you care about. This is an invitation for you to develop a methodology for the changes and the people you care about. This is an invitation for you to learn the skills to be more confident and competent at creating change, facilitating change, supporting change that you care about for the people that you love. And that's important. And you can oftentimes say, well, does love? What do you mean? Does it have a place at work? Does it have a place? Yes. The definition of love, you can take a lot of different definitions, but it's to have a genuine care and regard for someone else. And so if you are at work and you don't have a genuine care and regard, or if you're in a situation it doesn't make sense to me. I think it's such an important element to any group, organization, or community that we're in, is have a genuine love for the people, the organization, and the things you're doing. Making it stick. And what's interesting is you're going to see a video by Malcolm Gladwell on the tipping point, and if you listen to it, you'll be surprised to hear him talk about stickiness. And I think that talk in his book was related to and influenced the book Make It Stick, which you have in your reading. And the idea of Make It Stick is all about creating enduring learning. And you'll see when Malcolm Gladwell in that video talks about how these tipping point, these major changes that transform whole communities and organizations, there's this notion of stickiness that happens within that. So not only is this book good about looking at how we are learning and influencing the way we're using the class to create enduring learning for you and for me and for all of us, but also how it relates to making change stick, how making an initiative stick more and helping people to learn new ways and so forth. Finally, the tree of knowledge. This is getting at the heart of how you are articulating this innovation that you're embarking on creating in this class. You're going to create an innovation that is going to be scalable, that's going to represent your passion, your calling, your skills, and your gifts. It's going to be the thing that you're going to put out in front of people that someone will read and say, I want you to be a part of what we do. And as you go through that journey, it is deeply personal because it is connecting to, at your core, the thing that will help you stand out and do amazing work in the world. And the tree of knowledge reflects on a lot of that and has all kinds of implications for not only how you explore and find and uncover that which you know and bring out that gift and talent you have. It's also related to how you conceptualize it, how you share it with others, how other people can learn, and also about large-scale change and change initiatives and that team proposal you're going to be creating, and how do you create these and design and guide change initiatives as an agent of change. So those are the books. That's how they relate. You will read with purpose. So I invite you to skim them, read through, get a lay of the land of them. The discussion boards will cue you to work on them throughout the course of our time together. And then as you're reading and going through your assignments, think about how these might inform you. Find places of inspiration in the books. You're not going to be required to memorize and take a multiple choice test. As you know, this class is all about active and applied learning. That stickiness, that make it stick kind of learning that creates an enduring learning experience for you. So, additional resources, you'll be cued to use them throughout, and I'll sprinkle them throughout in the course of assignments and other kinds of things, and you'll have access to them. So, talking a lot about assignments, we've got We've got the discussion board forums. We have 4 of them. They are important, they are significant, and they are something that students have said, I'm not sure if I really want to do this. And then I have said, well, at the end of the semester, what should we do with these? And every single time the students say, I would not want to do without these 4 discussion forums and the experience I had in doing them. So you're going to feel pushed a bit because they are deep thinking questions. They're going to invite you to reflect. They're little mini papers, if you will, and then you're going to share them in the cohort and then have conversation in the cohort and reflect and react and comment on other people. And so this is how we take a blended course, which is supposed to be active and engaging before the first residency, between residencies, and then after the residency. So the discussion board forum is intended to create that sticky glue that you will, if you will, throughout the course of our learning experience. The questions, I've thought carefully about them. They are intentionally designed to help you grow, help you get the assignments done, and help you to uncover and become that as I mentioned before, that instrument and use of self as instrument and as an agent of change. The personal OD&C method. This is your coup d'etat, I believe. This is your opus maximus, I think, is another way of saying it. This is like your thesis in a master's program. This is where you put yourself out there. And it's not that it has to be perfect. I think when we talk about that notion of if you teach a person to fish, they can eat for a lifetime. The idea here is to go through the innovation process that will be built on this kernel of inspiration you have around your calling, connected to that outward expression of making a difference in the world professionally. And as you go through that process of creating this, that's going to be what's most important. I'm going to really encourage you to go through the process and make a full swing all the way through so that you have the experience of going through and creating this method. And then you can come back afterwards, like after the semester, later on, and continue to make it better and better. And in the course of that, you will learn the process of innovating your own approaches. And you'll be able to use that as you go out in the world in almost any setting to develop, or you will be developing this innovation mastery that will serve you for a lifetime. The next piece is the Team Collaborative Change Roadmap Proposal. And this is similar to the Iron Chef of collaborative event design. It's not as punctuated. You will have some time where you'll be working with the client a little bit on the first residency that we get together for us. You'll have a little bit of time then, and then you'll have some time via distance with the client. And then you will pitch your proposal and go through a proposal pitch process, competing with the other teams on the second residency that we have together. So it's stretched out a little bit, but it's still contained, and you will go through the 4 deliverables there that are outlined. Now you come down to the course structure. As you know, it's applied learning, active learning, it's experiential, situated, and so forth. And I think the book Make It Stick, I think it outlines the core principles that are engaged in this class. We talk about expectations, attendance and preparation and participation and honesty and etiquette and engagement and communication and preparation and feedback and expertise and accessibility and respect. And I think I've had a great time with you all. You're a special group a special cohort. And I'm really grateful that we've been learning together, and I'm looking forward to the next step with you all here. And I guess this next class with you all and your next step in the program. We got policies, you got those. And then you come down here, you get to the schedule. And when you look at the schedule, the way it's laid out is we have weeks, and we have Thanksgiving in the midst of this. So I intentionally created it so that Thanksgiving could be open for you to take time. And I invite you to really just focus on family, focus on the people you love, and take that Thanksgiving week and enjoy yourself. And then finish strong after that with your personal OD&C method. I'll explain more of that as we go. So you can see through here, you can see you got week 1, week 2, week 3. Then we've got the residency. Then you got week, that's week 4. Then week 5, week 6, week 7, week 8, and week 9, week 10, 11, and then 12. And typically I would end 3 weeks after the second residency. However, I gave you this Thanksgiving week here right after the residency, because we have our residency that weekend before. And then I want you to just take the week and the following weekend off and come back to things the following week. And we'll also have a special gathering on both residencies on Saturday night at my home. I invite you all over. And then as we go through, what you'll see is you can see how it's laid out that, on Monday, the discussion board 1 is available, and you want to begin work on your personal method. I'm not getting you started on your team project until we get into the first residency. So your only focus is going to be on discussion board 1 and your personal method. Dive in, soak in, give yourself soak time. So you want to get started. Go back and pull out your work that you did in the 6015 class with collaborative change. Go back and pull out that work, because that work should now come forward, and now you take it deeper. And so you take the next 3 weeks to go deeper in it. And I know you're finishing up some assignments with another class, so you should be able to work on that and then begin ramping up your work in this class. And as you get into, we'll have in the first week, we'll also have a course intro and orientation webinar. That will be on Thursday, and I have that here. It should be I believe it'll be on Thursday at 9 o'clock, I think. I have here at 12 o'clock. Let me just check something here real quick. I need to make sure that I am looking at this right, and it'll take me just a second. So let me see here. Yep, I have, let me make sure, just one more thing. Yep, I believe it is at 12. It's at 12 o'clock, from 12 to 1. And then the next week on Thursday, 12 to 1. And then the next week on Thursday, it's 9 o'clock. So I'm rotating back and forth between 12 and 9, and then I think the next Thursday is 9 o'clock, and so forth. So I have to work around departmental meetings and some other kinds of things that I have going on to make it work. The consistency is going to be 12 p.m. or 9 p.m., and the second thing is to be on Thursdays, and so that's the intention there. So our orientation will be on Thursday at 12 o'clock. I picked 12 o'clock because that's lunchtime. So we should all be able to, most of us should be able to grab a lunch and pop in on Zoom and participate. And that's what I'll do myself. And let's see what else here. So then you get into week 2, and you have your discussion board post is on that Monday. And then you move into your group discussion that next day on Tuesday. So what you're doing is in week 1, you're working on the discussion board and you're working on your personal OD and C method. And the first deliverable on the method is a presentation with a recording and not a paper. So it's intended for the presentation to be a bit of an outline. And the discussion board is intended to get you started and get you reflecting on some things that will also inform the personal OD and C method. So these two support each other. So as you're working on your discussion board, you have the first week to work on it. And then on Monday of week 2, you post your initial post to the discussion board. Then beginning on Tuesday, you come back and have group discussion. The expectation is that you will have 10 reflective and interactive posts with the class. And I'll explain more about that when you click on the instructions for that particular discussion board post. And you'll do that through the week, and then it will wrap up on week 3, Monday. In addition, you'll submit your presentation on Monday as well. And so you have 2 weeks to work on the discussion board and have conversation, and 2 weeks to work on your personal OD and C method. Then you submit those 2 on Monday, and then the next day on Tuesday, your personal OD, your discussion board number 2 becomes available. So you get to see discussion board number 2. You got plenty of time to work on it. I just want you to see it so that you can begin thinking about it as you come into the weekend. And then also on Tuesday, you begin your peer review, and you peer review between Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday by reviewing 2 other people's work. And at the same time, you begin to work on your paper. So start getting to work on the paper, create the Word document, which I've given you as a template, and you begin to work on that template and bring things into it. And we will then have an optional course check-in on Thursday, and then we move into the residency on Saturday. And again, Saturday evening, we'll have a get-together in addition to being with each other that afternoon. We will also be working with the client and moving into teams. So you'll be forming teams, and on Sunday, you'll be working in your teams as you work on your team proposal project. And this is just a getting started over the weekend, a residency. So then we have the following week, and we have a course progress check. And that's it. So you have some time to jump in and get working on things and reflect from all of your experience over the residency, translate that into continuing to work on your written paper, and also working on discussion board number 2. And then you post your initial post for discussion board number 2 on Monday. And then on Tuesday, you begin group discussion. We'll have an optional course progress check at 12 o'clock on this day, on the 25th. We go into week 6, and the discussion for discussion board number 2 ends on Monday, and then discussion board number 3 becomes available on Tuesday. And you have a week to work on that. We also will have a meeting with the client on November 1st. So you will have a lot of time, as you can see, or a window of time to really focus on your work on your personal OD&C methodology. And then you move into week 7 and you post, and then the next day you begin group discussion. You have a week for group discussion. We'll have our progress check at 9 o'clock. We move into week 8, and we end discussion for discussion board number 3, and you submit your paper. So now you've done a presentation for the first residency. You do a paper for the second residency. We use the residency to give you feedback on your presentation, and we're going to use the butterfly interview process to help you take it deeper and really help each other get the most out of a great conversation that will give you the words and the language and thinking that will help maybe pull out some great ideas that you can then use that recording for the paper. And then for the second residency, you'll submit here on the 12th your written paper. And then on Tuesday, you get to see discussion board number 4, but you've got plenty of time to get that done. You get to see that, and so you get to reflect on what's there. You begin your peer review process of 2 other people. And you begin to now work on your paper and your presentation, because that's your final deliverable around your personal OD&C method. On Thursday, you'll end your peer review. You'll have your personal method. Let me see here. Let me end peer. So that's the double. I got to take one of those out. I'm sorry. So ignore that. One of those will be gone. You'll have a course progress check at 12 o'clock. And on Thursday, you'll be submitting your team's proposal. It will be in the form of a document and a 7-minute presentation. And the presentation will be at the end of the proposal. You don't need to do a recording on this one because you'll be presenting that live with the client in the room. And then they'll be discussing it with you, asking questions, and then they'll move into a fishbowl where they will pick one. And you'll observe that process. And we'll debrief it and so forth. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we have our residency number 2. And it will be focused on taking your personal OD&C method, paper deeper, and focusing on building out your presentation and paper together. These are the 2 things that you will use as you communicate your methodology in a variety of settings that could be conferences to interviews. And then you'll also use the residency to be a part of the simulation in which you'll present your proposal, and we'll go through that process and debrief it and learn and reflect on large-scale change initiatives that are collaborative. Once we're done on Sunday, we take the week and focus on family and all the things that we're grateful for. And we move into week 10. And on Monday, you'll submit peer evaluations to your team's facilitator, in which you all will evaluate each other, and it affects 5% of your grade. So your team will grade you, and you'll grade your team members, and that will influence the grade that you get. On Thursday, you'll have an we'll have the optional progress check at 12 p.m. So we have our class check-in at 12 p.m. on that Thursday. And then we move into week 11, in which you will post your discussion board number 4. And the team peer evaluations will be submitted to me by one member of your team, who will take all the ones from the previous week, compile them, and do the calculation and give that to me. And then you'll, on Tuesday, begin group discussion after you submit the discussion board 4 initial post. That'll move into Thursday, which will have another progress check. Those will be 9 p.m. We'll have the weekend, and then you will end group discussion on Monday and submit your personal OD&C method. And we're pretty well done. One of the things I'm inviting you all to do is you'll submit on Monday, but I'm going to invite you to go ahead and do a peer evaluation of each other just to see what 2 other people did, to have some closure for everybody and some feedback. And I'll likely hold a after-action review and pick a time with you all that'll work, so that I can learn from your experience and improve the class for the future. So I hope this is as exciting for you as it is for me. I think every single element of the class is designed to prepare you to more confidently and competently go after your dream job and follow that next career step for you that you want to do, and something that you find exciting, and it's for you. And so it's work, and it's work that's worth it, in my opinion. And I'm asking you to step into and give this your all, because every second you spend on this, you're really spending on you and your future. And you can click next down here after the syllabus on assignments if you want to look at them all. And you've got 2 ways. You can look at them show by date, which has them all laid out like that, or you can show them by type, which then puts them into these form. And in each one of these you can click, and this is where you submit. Now, if you want to get the instructions, 2 places. One is you can get the instructions in the syllabus by scrolling down, and you click here for instructions for OD&C method, and here for the details. For the discussion board forums, you get to them through the modules, the calendar, or the syllabus down below. You can click on them and get to them. My recommendation is you get to your discussion board forums in the modules. And then you can click here for instructions for the OD and C method and the team collaborative proposal, change roadmap proposal. You can get all of that, excuse me, you can get all of that in modules. When you click on modules, you'll see there's week 1 to 3. You'll see there's residency 1, week 4 through 9, 10 through 12. So when you go into weeks 1 through 3, you'll see there's discussion board 1 post, personal D&C method instructions. Click there to read the instructions. This is where you submit your presentation, and this is where you conduct your peer reviews. And then when we get to the residency, we'll have information here for you related to that day. You're not going to have access to anything but weeks 1 through 3 because I want you to stay focused. Weeks 4 through 9, you can see the 2 discussion boards, the personal method, paper, and your team proposal that gets submitted. You can see residency 2. We just have the agenda there. And you can see here weeks 10 through 12. You got your discussion board forum. You got your OD&C method, your presentation and paper. And you got your peer evaluation. So that's everything and anything about this class and the mechanics of the class. I'd say the last thing is be sure to download the Canvas app on your smartphone so that you get all the information that you need instantly, and any updates and announcements and stuff like that. You can click on the calendar and you can go through that here, and you can see September and October and November and December. And what I tend to do is I really want to try to help you flow. So if you take 1 week at a time, you can see discussion board 1's available. You can see the personal method, begin that. And then you can see start working on it. Then you got the orientation, and right here, if you click on it, you got the link for the Zoom right there, take you in. So it's all right here. And then you can go into week 2. You got your posts. This is when you're ready to post, you click here and you can post it. Then you begin group discussion. And then you have our course thing again, and you can click on the Zoom. So the Zoom link is always the same, by the way. And so you can just keep going through that. You can click up here on agenda, which is similar to the syllabus view. And you can see it on that in this way. So the calendar is also there to support you. And last but not least, if you need me, use inbox. I don't use email. Please send stuff to me through inbox. That's the way I keep organized. And you have my phone number. So if you text me or call me or want to set some time up and you need me, you can also reach out to me in that way. And again, I'm here for you, and I am particularly here for you while you're in the class. I'm here as your coach, as your teacher, as your mentor, as your co-learner. So I am super excited, and I look forward to talking with you all on Thursday. And welcome aboard. The journey begins. Bye for now.